What is up, my people? You got me dancing. I love my intro. It sounds so cool. You know what I mean? Sometimes the sound hits you and you just like got a jam. I just feel good today. And I feel good today because I am doing 2 episodes back to back. And also, my guests today are some of the most awesome people I think I've had the privilege of meeting and speaking with. My first guest today is Christina Garcia. When I tell you, there are certain people in this world that when you start speaking to them, you immediately know, yo, watch this person because they're going to be something. And Christina is just one of those lights that has everybody gravitating to her. But as I keep babbling, let me go ahead and stop and give her a proper intro. Christina Garcia is a proud Filipina woman and mommy to a sweet and spunky 4-year-old boy. She is also an 11-year dedicated newborn ICU nurse by trade, supercharged into the ultimate hype girl with ambitions on a mission to collaborate over competition. I just love that. As a natural healer and rediscovering herself after motherhood, it became her calling to help other mommies do the same. Together, they dive deep into blockages in the heart, mind, and body to unlock their true inner confidence while nourishing their souls to reclaim their power and purpose. And she is also an inspiring self-published author in the Book Publishing Academy. So everyone, please help me give a warm, awesome, hype girl welcome to Christina Garcia. What is up, my friend? And let me say on record, I apologize for butchering your intro in the very, very beginning. My apologies. Clearly, I need to go back to school because I can't read off my own parts. So,
no,
it's live. What can I say?
You know what that means? That means excitement. Like you just got so excited. You were like feeling the hypeness. So I'm all about that. So thank you.
Yo, life is too short to be sad. It's like if your life is filled with sadness and disappointment, you need to systematically start cutting out the things you don't want. That's just personally how I feel. You know what I'm saying? Because life is too short to be going through it without joy and doing the things you love. And I love talking to people. And as we were saying before we actually went live, you and I got to speak about successful parenting, which I think we both agree. It's kind of hard to feel like a successful parent at times, right? So we had the privilege of speaking and we gave our opinions about being parents and what it is to be a successful parent. So as I read in the intro, you have a awesome, spunky, young man, young king coming up in the throne. Tell us about your journey. Let's start from the beginning. What helped you make the transition into becoming the woman you are now?
Oh my gosh, that is a loaded question. If this thing's right to go, y'all better be ready, okay? You better be ready.
Oh man, we don't play here. We don't play.
Well, I think life is a bunch of deaths and rebirths. You have all these different transitions where it feels like it's the end of the world. You talk about the disappointment. You talk about being sad and down and out. But I think those moments are so necessary. And that's a lot of what my life has been.
Yeah.
I think about this quote by Abraham and Hicks. She's an energy channeler. I'm really into the spiritual side of the world. And she says, you really have to know what you don't want to know what you do want, right? So simple,
Agreed,
simple.
Yeah.
And so to know someone who knows joy is someone who's been through a lot of stuff, a lot of pain, a lot of struggle,
right?
Because you can only really embrace that joy when you've known the latter, but you get to the point where you transition between those two. So I'm glad you asked the question of where it has my life taken me. And I'll tell you, just 2 years ago, I can guarantee that where I am now is not where I thought I would be. And that would be a single divorced parent, so 4-year-old. And nobody gets married with the intention of, I'll just get a divorce just in case this doesn't work out.
No, there's some crazy people out there. There might be some people like that. I don't know, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, for real. No, I mean, it's true. There are people that have that mentality, but
Right.
I didn't go into it personally with the
Uh-huh.
idea that that's what I wanted and that's what I wanted
Right.
for my family. And so we just transitioned through a lot of ups and downs of
Mm,
growing, not growing. And then ultimately what ended up happening in my personal marriage was, it's hard when you have two people that really love each other, that have
hmm.
like the same goal in the beginning. And when
Right.
you start to grow apart and you're not nurturing that in between, when you're not having the communication, where you're not maybe going to therapy early on, when you know that there might be issues between the two of you, or, seeking something outside of yourselves to tackle whatever problems you're having. And with us, communication was a very big thing. Um, and as we started to grow apart, we just didn't do enough nurturing in between, to the point where we were just completely different people by the time we hit our 10 years of being together.
Right.
So at that point, it's so hard to make the decision as either partner to say,
Hmm.
you know what, it's going to be better and healthier for all parties involved if we create the separation, if we create different lives outside of what our marriage looks like now.
Hmm.
And I will be honest, it was not easy. Like, that was like probably the hardest, like, death, I guess you can say, because I'm talking about births and dying and rebirthing,
Right.
right? It was the
Hmm.
hardest part of it, but through it,
Yeah.
it just gave birth to something so much bigger. And that's
Mm.
the fact that we were both able to trust ourselves. We're both able to
Hmm.
live truth. And my son now gets to see what it's like to trust yourself, to not, yes, it's a form. Some people may look at divorce as like, oh, you just gave up. But in my opinion, it's actually harder to
Hmm.
make the decision to break up your family than it is to stay in something that is causing lots of turmoil, that's causing unhealthy environments for the child, that's causing you to feel uneasy every single day, or making you have
Right.
anxiety, right? So yeah, it's just
Hmm.
making that transition. So now I'm just in this beautiful place where, even though I've like left this beautiful part of my life, I've
Yeah.
made space for so much more. And I literally feel like the world is mine, right? And I'm ready for whatever partner wants to come fill my life and be a partner alongside me and grow with me. And so that's kind of what it's done for me. And so now I'm
Hmm.
doing all this stuff and helping other moms find the same joy that they might have lost, whether they're married or not married, because it's not even
Hmm.
about just being in the relationship, right? It's like it's an individual journey.
Well, I think you bring up multiple points. And let me try to make sure that I hit all of them. So, from the beginning of being in a relationship or a partnership, regardless if it's professional, personal, you have to be able to communicate with the person you're partnering with, right? Particularly in a marriage. And if you don't do that, you both are going to start heading in different directions. So you need to get help, counseling, or whatever the case may be, right? But I love it the way, while I was listening, you kept saying we or I, and you were saying all the things that let me know that you were doing a lot of self exploration. Like, you're not just blaming your spouse's problems or his issues. You were sitting there saying, like, look, I had fault too. There was all that self diving
Mm.
into, you know what I mean? And I think that's so important for a lot of us, because we don't spend the time. We're very quick to say that, oh, that was their problem, like they did that. If it wasn't for them, I'd be different. Well, no, yeah, they might have done something, but you still have control, right? And it's awesome to hear you speak, because you had that control, right? So I tend to wonder how challenging is it working with other women to get them to do that themselves, because it's not just a woman. I think men have this problem too. But
Absolutely.
how difficult is that to get people to see, you know what, let's start with you, let's make you whole before you try to partner with someone else, because that's important, right?
Yes, absolutely. I think, bring up such a big point about taking responsibility, and I think it's with the women that I get to work with, it's a matter of
Hmm.
building an awareness around catching ourselves when we are blaming other people, when we are running this like subconscious dialogue that I'm the victim, I'm the victim, I'm the victim. And
Right.
so it's a matter of really just helping guide women into, and even men can do this too, just guiding them into a space that lets them see, like, and listen to their actual dialogue. Sometimes we speak, just to hear ourselves talk, and just to let things roll and roll and roll. And we don't realize that we're just repeating the same thing, and we're causing that repetition in what we speak to happen over and over again. But my job is to help women understand that, like, like, once you pay attention to how you're speaking to yourself and how you're creating a narrative in your mind, it's all about that awareness. It's about that awareness. And once we can start taking responsibility in the part we play in that, and once women start to see, like, hey, like, it is not just my partner or X, Y, and Z. It's like me, like, I'm in control at all times. So helping them see that they can gain that control by changing up their behaviors in what they do every single day. Because a lot of the times we get caught up in the routine of what we're so used to every single day. So, like, so for instance, like, you get up and you go to the bathroom, and then you make your coffee, and then you sit on the same side of the couch, and then you turn on the TV and you watch the same news at the same time every day. It's like that repetition just creates these, like, neurons in your brain and these wirings that just keep refiring on automation. And unless you are adding creativity or challenging yourself, you'll keep repeating the same patterns. And that's what I see with women. And that's the biggest challenge, is getting them to commit to trying something new, to recreating a new routine, so that they can start refiring different neurons in their brains and start creating these new habits and pathways, so they can create that awareness.
So I'm gonna put you on the spot, because this is bite the bullet. So let me go ahead and ask you, do you have any tangible ways people can try to rewire their brains if they are stuck in those patterns of just going through the mundane jobs of life, right?
Absolutely. So I always think of your habits and behaviors make you who you are, right? So whatever habits you've accumulated over time eventually becomes who you are. So when you can tackle what one goal is, I always like to start with something small. Like, don't try to get all crazy and be like, I'm going to drop 20 pounds. I'm going to change my diet. I'm going to start running every day. Like, no. Let's take it back.
I can speak from experience, particularly on that subject. Luckily, like, I've been able to be consistent with my weight loss goals and my weight loss journey. And I remember back when I first started, like, years ago, like you said, I'm going to drop 50 pounds in a month. I'm going to I know it's winter, but beach season comes. I'm going to be out there in a Speedo. I'm going to be sexy. Yeah, it don't work that way. You know what I mean? So small, tangible goals. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, so, it's just setting small goals. It's like knowing that you want to become this person, right? You set this goal. You're like, okay, I see my higher self being X, Y, Z. But it's like, okay, then we got to work backwards. What is one thing that I can implement to do that now? And then that's the thing. We get so ahead of ourselves. Like, we think, oh, we're going to do this big goal. And that big goal is like, it becomes overwhelming eventually, is what happens. Is you get this big goal, you start going, and it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable because, not to say that you can't attain big things, but when you're going from 0 to 100, there's got to be 99 steps in between that 100 to get to that 100. And you get to be patient with yourself, right? Because you just want the immediate boom, whatever's the fastest way. That's why there's all these fad diets, there's all these detoxes, and it's like, like, that's not going to help you. So going back to your question, if you can pick one thing that you want to tackle, attach it to something you already do in that routine. So let's say you want to work out, right? Yeah. And you can't just say, okay, I'm going to work out when I get home from work. But you got to make it very specific. So let's say when you get home every single day, you know that you put your keys on the counter. Next to those keys on the counter, you put your workout clothes. And you say to yourself, when I get home, after I put my keys on the counter, I'm going to put on my workout clothes and I will walk for 15 minutes. Make it attainable, right? Like, don't try to do it so it's like, I'm going to get home after work and go work out for an hour, right? If you've never worked out a day in your life. So
I want to play devil's advocate. So say you got that person, like, when I get home, I got my kids to take care of. My husband's over there. There's all this other stuff I got to do. I can't just go walk. What can I do? Which that is not a representation of all women. That's just a character that I made up. Let me go ahead and say that.
Absolutely. And sometimes that could be a real scenario. I think you bring
Right.
it up because it is something that could absolutely happen. And
Yeah.
again, this is how and why moms get lost in their everyday roles, is
Right.
because they allow themselves to fall into not taking care of themselves, right?
Hmm.
Because they
Yeah.
have responsibilities and mom guilt. Okay, I'm sure dad guilt is also real, but like
Yeah.
moms, we be carrying that shit like it's our trophy. Okay? Like, no.
That's very true. Cause like I have five sisters, my wife and my daughter, and I speak to my wife a lot. And one of the things, and I hope she doesn't, I don't believe she'll remind me saying this, but I believe mom guilt is a really thing because there are a lot of times where she's like, well, I know I have to work, but you want my time. The kids want my time. There's so many other things I got to do, but I feel like I'm spreading myself too thin. And of course, me as a dad and a husband, I'm just like, well, just tell us no. Right. Because that's what I've learned to do. But dad guilt is a thing, but I don't think it's as severe as mom guilt. And that's just my personal opinion.
And I'm going to have to agree with you. It just hits moms a little bit different. I don't
Yeah.
know if it's like the innate nature connection
Right.
divinely that we have with our children and with our spouses and our
Right.
partners that makes us feel like we have a little bit of codependency going on there, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like,
Right.
oh my God, without us, they're not going to do well, especially when you've been doing it for so long, right?
Right.
But again, this goes right back to the first point that you brought up, you and I both brought up, which was communication. Like,
Yeah.
get on board with your family and
Mm-hmm.
just be like, look, y'all, like, this is very important to me. And we are a team. This is what I always tell my son when
Mm-hmm.
I'm like needing his help, because it's just him and I, right?
Okay.
So when we're in the house and it's like a mess and I'm needing him to help me pick things up, I'm just like,
Mm.
okay, mommy needs you to pick this up. And if he throws a fit, I'm
Yeah.
like, buddy, it is you and it is me. And what does that make us? And he's always like, we're a team, mama. I'm like, that's right. And we can't get nothing done alone. So you get to help mommy and I
Right.
will help you, but you get to
Mm-hmm.
help me too, because I'm not going to do all this by myself. Okay.
Oh, and it's funny that you bring that up because I agree with you 110%. Years ago, my wife and I weren't the dynamic duo that we are today. So I remember there was a couple that lived across the street from us. And they would come over periodically. And the way they spoke to each other, my wife and I loved that so much. They spoke life into each other. And they would use words like, oh, that's my teammate. Oh, that's my partner. Oh, I love when she does this. I love when he does that. And me and my wife were like, yo, we got to start doing that. That is awesome. And we started doing it. And you realize when you start speaking life into people and you start treating them like they are a team, like they are your partner, things start changing. When you change yourself, others change around you.
Ooh, I honestly, I use that so much because I'm all about community too, right? Like when I
Right.
say that I'm all about building collaboration over competition, it's because like
Mm-hmm.
I believe in community, right? Like
Yeah.
you cannot do this alone. And when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to the work of healing, there's a saying that says when hurt people, right? Like, you know
Mm-hmm.
that people are saying hurtful things to other people because they're really in a state of pain. But
Right.
the same thing applies to when people heal, they heal
Mm-hmm.
other people. You create this like longing within yourself where you start to take this accountability. You start
Mm-hmm.
seeing what it looks like to create awareness in your life. And you can't help, again, like you want to embody that and help others do the same thing.
Yeah.
So what you saw in the positivity in a different couple
Mm-hmm.
inspired you and your wife to do the same thing. So the more that we can cultivate that within ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
the more it becomes a ripple effect to others around us.
Agreed.
And you gave a prime example of exactly what that looks like. So when we start to take more accountability of the role that we play, the awareness and how we create that, how we're co-creators with this beautiful universe with God, the
Mm-hmm.
easier that it becomes to shift in those areas that we find so difficult in our life.
Oh, I agree with you. And let me ask you, how challenging was it for you to get into this mindset? And how were you able to stay there? Because anyone who's watched this show long enough, anyone who knows me on social media knows that my alter ego is Mr. Positivity. And
Yeah.
I'm quick to tell you that I'm not positive all the time. Like I have to work at it. Like I have to get up, stay in my affirmations, meditate, all this stuff so I can go and give to other people. How do you do that? And what was the challenges you faced getting into that mindset of helping others do the same?
Man, again, deaths and rebirths. I'm gonna take it back there because I have hurt a lot of people along the way,
Uh-huh.
just being selfish, letting ego play a huge part
Yeah.
in being victimized.
Mm.
And so it really just got to the point where I was just sick and tired of being sick and tired, you know?
Okay.
And so one of the things that I started to do was affirmations as well.
Hmm.
Journaling is something that absolutely
Oh,
put me
yes.
on. And
Hmm.
I found that how I start my mornings
Hmm.
with intention is the biggest way that I can continue to stay and have momentum to stay positive throughout the day. Because yes, I am not Miss Perfect. Yes, I'm the ultimate hype girl, but like
Hmm.
seriously, like no, I have pockets where I'm like fuming, right? I got
Hmm.
the smoke like Roger Rabbit coming out of my ears, right?
So wait a minute, Chris. Wait a minute. You're not perfect. Wait a minute. Hold up now. Looking at you and seeing your world. You're not perfect. Oh my. What?
Yes, newsflash, breaking news, y'all. Christina Garcia is not perfect, okay? But what makes that so perfect is being imperfectly
Mhm.
perfect, understanding that all the flaws, all the
Yes.
experiences, all the downfalls that you've been through make you who you are. Because yes, you may
Agreed.
experience struggle similar to somebody else, but
Hmm.
the embodiment and the experience that you have in that specific thing is so different. Like you and I could go through
Yeah.
the same thing, right? We could
Hmm.
go through waking up, having a bad day, stubbing our toe, and stubbing that toe will feel different. The experience feels different. The way we allow it to trickle into our day feels different, but we still experience the same thing.
Right.
However, because of that, it allows you still to connect and it still allows you to shift. And I guess it's just a matter of being able to build that awareness so you can see when it's actually happening. So yeah, intention of my day and journaling and
Hmm.
meditation has done a big thing for me in my life
Yeah.
too.
Okay. I agree with all of that, and I want to go ahead and switch gears just a little bit. I want to ask you about your book. Are you able to give us any hints or tips about your book that's coming up? Because I'm excited. Like I said, I've only known you for like what, 2.5, maybe 3 weeks, and I'm a fan. I already told you before I brought you on. I'm stalking you now. So, can you tell us anything about your book?
Well, first of all, that is reciprocated because I'm taking tips from you on TikTok. I'm like, this guy is showing up. He's making me laugh. He coming through with all these
Oh,
flawless transitions. Like, okay, I
oh,
see
so
you
trust me, my
here.
transitions are not flawless by any.
I see you though. I see you, and
Oh, I
I'm
appreciate it. I
excited.
appreciate it.
Yes. So, okay, sorry. Restate that question. I got so excited.
The book. Can you tell us what can you tell us about your upcoming book?
Book, yes, okay. So I'm actually in the process of two. I don't know how you do that, but I'm in the
Hmm.
process of two. I'm wanting to do a coffee stable tile type of book where it's just.
Oh,
Have you ever heard of Humble the Poet?
yes.
Okay, so his
Hmm.
book is very much like short excerpts of
Hmm.
like daily ways that you can be inspired
Right.
through daily experiences. So
Hmm.
a coffee table book like that with
Okay.
pictures. And
Cool.
then the other book I'm working on is How to Heal Happily. So I created this beautiful acronym around healing that allows you to, it's a very tangible, easy way. And once you
Hmm.
read the book and you get that information, you'll be like, oh, is this simple? What? Yes. So it's an acronym that I've created from the word heal, HEAL. And
Hmm.
I'm gonna leave it there because y'all gotta have a little bit of cliffhanger from when it comes out.
Okay, I'm excited. I can't wait because it's gonna be on my coffee. I'm hyped. Yo, for real. I can't wait. So, if you need any help publishing, or you have any questions, please let me know because I have a book that I published. I'm working on my second one now. So, if there's any questions, please feel free to holler at your boy. So, let me go ahead now and make the actual transition to the famous bite the bullet questions.
Oh,
So, if you have not seen the show, my question to you is where have you been and why haven't you been watching my show? That's my first question. The second part of this is Christina has not seen these questions. These are the bite the bullet questions. Christina, are you ready to bite the bullet?
oh God, I'm nervous, but let's go.
Oh, don't be scared. Don't be scared. All right. So, What motivates you to do what you do?
So cliche, but
Hey,
my
that's not cliche.
son.
That's not cliche. I get that completely.
Oh my gosh, my baby. When I see
Uh-huh.
him and I see what I get to cultivate and I get to help
Mm,
him grow, I'm like, yes, I want him to see that life is possible for him to do whatever he wants to do and to trust himself in that process. So definitely my son.
uh, I love that. I love that. What is the one common myth about your profession that you want to debunk?
That the coach is the end all be all and the guru of all things. Because I will tell you,
So true.
as
Yes.
a coach, I have many coaches myself that keep me guided. Okay. And
Right.
if you got a coach telling you that
Hmm.
also that you got to give up finances and charge credit cards and do all these things
Hmm.
to be signed on, I think
Yeah.
that is a myth. I think that is a myth, and that we are not the end all be all, because there are many ways to get the information we deliver. It's a matter of being connected and understanding
Hmm.
the value that both of you can bring to the table.
Absolutely. Well said. I love that. Okay. What's one thing you wish you had known when you began your career?
Oh gosh. Honestly, now being so I'm 35 now, I wish
Hmm.
I had financial literacy. I
Oh,
wish
yes.
that I was taught how to invest in stocks, what bonds were, what,
Hmm.
cryptocurrencies, like all
Yeah.
this stuff financially, because we know to build generational wealth, it means
Hmm.
um, being able to have many streams of passive income. And
Agreed. Yeah.
that is something that I definitely want to work on. And I wish before I started my career, I knew how to save my money better, because I'm not good with money, y'all.
Same boat right here. Same boat. Definitely.
And so, yeah, before I started my career, I wish when I
Uh-huh.
was in high school, even that it was
Yeah.
something that was offered
Hmm.
like readily, like it was something that everybody talked about,
Yeah.
because I think most of us could
Hmm.
be in a very different position if we could all tap into that same wealth.
Agreed. If you could have dinner with any three people, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Oh my God. Okay. Albert Einstein,
Okay.
Martin Luther King Jr.,
All right.
obviously,
Uh-huh.
and my grandma.
Oh, why on Albert? Why on Martin? And why on your grandma?
So Albert, a lot of people think that he's insane, right? But his mind was so in tune to universal
Right.
concepts and universal law that
Hmm.
just to have a simple conversation with him, I just can't imagine what that would be like wrap my mind
Right.
around that.
Hmm.
Martin Luther King, I mean, he is a legend of our time.
Hmm.
And the community, the love, the compassion, the vision that he created just to tap into that energy and that space,
Mm.
I can't like.
Yeah.
And my grandma, I feel like, when people pass away in your own personal life,
Hmm.
I think you really start to see like how much you wish you would have learned more from them.
Very true. Very true.
And being Filipina, I
Hmm.
think roots and culture is so important. I mean, it's
Hmm.
important for anybody, I'm sure,
Hmm.
but for me, just to like dive more deep into like understanding like where she came from and like what it was like growing up in the barrio and like all these things. Like I wish I would have asked her more questions about that.
Hmm. Oh, wow. Definitely. Definitely. Um, what is something people would be surprised to know about you that they didn't already know?
Oh my gosh. I'm about to put myself on. You can't put me on blast over here, Jay.
Oh, these are back to bullet questions.
Okay, secretly, I love trash TV. I love The Bachelor. I love Are You the
Right.
One? Love is
Uh-huh.
Blind. Like, it is like the one thing that I get to do and like just fully submerge in it and let myself be hella ratchet for no
Yeah.
reason.
So now I know if I message you on Instagram or TikTok, it's because you watching trash TV and you left me on red. I get it. I got you. All right. Got you. All right.
Exactly.
All right. What's one thing you failed at and what did you learn from it?
Uh, Oddly enough, my first round in nursing school, I
Oh.
failed my
Hmm.
second semester.
Okay.
twice.
Wow. Okay. All
Yes.
right.
What I learned through that is how determined I was to become a nurse because even though I was told after I failed my second time, the
Mm-hmm.
director of that nursing program at the community college I was at said to me,
Mm-hmm.
you know, we have counselors that help you figure out if nursing is really the path that you should take. And I took that as, oh, hell no, I'm not going to let this woman tell me what I can and cannot do. And
Wow.
so, yeah, that was one of the biggest failures because I was really down on myself when that happened. But I took
Well.
accountability because I wasn't fully in it. And so the second time that I actually went for it, like
Mm-hmm.
I went for it, and clearly it worked.
I love it. I love it because I can tell you now if when I was in college I studied theater and music, so that's stuff that I love, and it's challenging. It's a different type of challenging, you
Yeah.
know. But if one of my teachers would have walked up to me and told me, "We have counselors here to help you to decide if this is really what you want to do," I gotta tell you, I probably would have been like, "Oh, okay, all right, sure, all right." Yeah, I don't know if I'd have been a music or theater major. That's just me, but I'm glad you stuck with it and came back with more fears because, yeah. What makes you feel inspired or like your best self?
Ooh, you know, I think the times that I recharge in nature when I'm
Oh,
outside,
yeah.
it really helps remind me just how small, but how also big
Yeah.
I am at the same time. And so anytime I'm feeling uninspired to get inspired again,
Hmm.
I just take a walk and be in nature and like look at all the things around me
Hmm.
that is alive and working and doing all these beautiful things and
Yeah.
in the universe is to keep us going, you know,
Yeah.
from like plants and rocks and the trees and the air that blows and the sun and the sky. It's just so simple. It's
So
so
simple,
simple.
so easy, and everybody can do that. I love it. Oh, wow. Oh, man. If you could have a billboard with anything on it, what would it be and why? I told you these bite the bullet questions don't play.
They
They
don't
don't
play, but
play.
they're good. They're
Thank you.
good. They're good. If I could have anything on a billboard,
Yep.
you know, it would be an affirmation probably that says something like "You
Okay.
are amazing."
I love that. I love that. I don't.
Just big, bold letters that just says "You are MF amazing." Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So, that's funny. So I told you, like, I've gotten back into working out consistently, and right now I'm doing a program on Beachbody, and the program that I'm doing now is the prep, right? And the coach on the prep.
So hard, but so good.
Oh yes,
She's
definitely.
so good.
Right,
Caesar, right?
right, right. Exactly. So Beachbody, I'm giving you a free sponsorship here, or a free plug right here. So but it's so good. But I found it funny because, like, in one of the videos, the coach is speaking to one of the background workout people. I don't know what their actual title would be, but like he zones in on him. He's like, "You guys got to hear the nickname he has for his kid," and he's like, "What's his nickname?" And the guy's like, "His nickname is Bamf." And just like, "Bamf, what kind of nickname is that?" And then the coach is like, "Because he's a badass motherfucker." And I'm like, "Yo, that is cool. I love that. That is dope. That is dope. I love that." I mean, I haven't gone as far as calling my kids that for a nickname, but I'm like, "Yo, that's dope. That's a dope nickname."
Yes.
All right.
I'll take that nickname.
Exactly, right? Exactly. What advice would you give someone wanting to pursue a career similar to yours?
Uh, be patient.
Oh,
Be
yeah.
patient. It takes
Hmm.
time. I think when you see someone in the forefront finally like executing programs and has multiple clients, there is a ton of things that happens in the back office
Mm,
that
yeah.
people don't see. So be patient with yourself. Allow yourself to grow
Yeah.
into who you are and allow things to fall where they fall. You don't have to force it. And if you're forcing it, then this probably means you need to take a step back or
Very true.
you know what I mean? Yeah.
Hmm. Oh, definitely. Definitely. What's the most important thing you've learned so far in your life and why?
Ooh, most important.
Yep.
I think most recently for me is learning how to have self-compassion. I think
Ooh.
it's very easy to be so hard on yourself
Mm-hmm.
And being hard on yourself can really get you entangled into some very negative places. So
Right.
learning to be kind and compassionate by, having grace and forgiveness in your path is so huge, so huge. That is
Oh,
probably right now, like in my forefront, the biggest thing that I could have on every level.
I love that. And I agree 100. And oh, yeah, definitely. So, in your opinion, what is the best tip for making the world a better place?
It's kind of everything that we've been talking about, and it's
Mhm.
taking accountability for the part that you play in the healing process.
Yes.
I think once you really start to understand the role that you play and what
Hmm.
is being created in your life and how you got to where you are, when you start to do that with yourself, it collectively makes other people want to heal because they see it in you. You never know who's watching you. I bet you that
Yeah.
couple never knew
Hmm.
that you were watching them. Like they were just doing them, right? So
Exactly.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, just paying attention to that.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. If you could turn back time and talk to your 18-year-old self, little 18-year-old Christina, what would you tell her?
Okay, first of all, when you said that, I thought, if I could turn back time.
I'm glad I'm not the only one who does that because all day long, if I hear a certain thing, it makes me think of a song and I got to sing it. So, but
Well,
what
thank
would
you
you
for
tell
giving
a
me
little
the
18,
space.
18?
Thank you for giving me the space to do that. I would tell her exactly the lesson that I've learned now is to be kind to herself because
Oh,
I was so hard on myself growing up. And I
hmm,
still am a little bit, but
yeah.
definitely same thing. That the biggest
Mhm.
lesson that I know now is one of the things that I would want to tell her back then. And be better with your money, girl. Be better with
Oh,
your money.
right? Definitely, definitely. Okay. We only got a few more questions left.
Let's go.
They get harder.
Oh God.
What are you afraid of?
Oh God. I honestly, I hate spiders. I hate
Hey, everybody got a
spiders.
thing. Hey, it's fair enough. And see, like,
Oh,
what?
I also have a phobia. I forget
Okay.
what it's called, but it's like holes when I see like multiple holes in things. God, I forgot what it's called. I feel like I gotta look it up. But there is this phobia where like if I look like a cucumber and a cucumber has like weird
Uh
like
huh.
divots or like
Yeah.
bell peppers, like the inside the skin of a bell pepper has a
Right.
bunch of
Uh huh.
the tech. Oh,
I gotta look this up. I've never heard of this. Like, so how do you feel about Crocs? You know what I'm saying?
Crocs don't keep me out for some reason, but like it's weird. The type
Uh
of
huh.
it's type of phobia, and I can't think of
Yeah.
what it's called right now, but I just can't do it.
Okay, I'm gonna look that up later. But okay,
Yes.
all right, fair enough. I mean, no judgment here. We all got our things. We all got our issues. Okay, all right. That's good to know, though. All right.
Your
So,
audience is probably like, this girl's a big old weirdo.
no, no, not my audience. No, not by all. So, if in 150 years science fails to save us all, Christina, and the only thing that is left is a book about your life, what would the title be, and what would the back say?
The title would be, wow, this one is hard.
The
The title would be,
Mhm.
you know what? I would call it The Phoenix. Because the
Phoenix. I like that.
phoenix is a
Yeah.
bird that has rose from the ashes into something
Hmm.
more majestic. And the
Okay.
back would be something along the lines of, I haven't read the back of my book and I don't even know what that would look like, but it would be something along the lines of like, it doesn't matter how hard your life has been, everybody has the ability to rise from the ashes into something beautiful, into their highest self, or something along those
I
lines.
love that. Okay, that would grab my attention. All right. Okay. What are the best resources that have helped you along the way?
Tapping into people that I can trust, that I know have done things better
Mm,
than I, or who are doing the things that I want to do.
right.
So definitely that.
Hmm.
The internet has been a great change in
Right.
our world, right?
Uh-huh.
Everything is
Uh-huh.
accessible at your fingertips.
Hmm.
And my son, he's my greatest teacher. He is my
I
greatest
love
teacher.
it. I love those. Okay, so we're down to the last bite the bullet question.
All right.
Always save the hardest for last.
Oh gosh.
Where can our listeners connect with you online?
You had my heart like, you better be ready, girl. You better be ready.
Right.
Well, thank you, Jay, for asking. You all can find me on Instagram at inspire.and.levelup. And that's the same handle on Twitter, on TikTok. So easy to find me. If you want to get into my emails, same thing at inspire.and.levelup@gmail.
Nice. So everyone, please go follow my girl Christina, because I can guarantee you her content is fire. She's dope, inspirational. And any ladies out there looking to change their mindset or just figure out what they're wanting to do in life, please contact my girl Christina Garcia. Now, I want to be respectful of your time, Christina. Are there anything, final words, pearls of wisdom you'd like to share with the audience before I officially let you go?
You know, after all of this, first of all, I just want to say thank you, because you are Mr. Positive. You are absolutely phenomenal. Okay.
Oh, stop it.
You put the fab in fabulous. Okay. Like, okay.
I love it. I love it. Thank you. I
So
appreciate
inspired by you too. And I thank you for all the work that you do, how you inspire people to be their best selves by, I see you're vegan. I see that you're all full of life. Like every time I roll into any of your social media platforms, I'm like, I'm finna get like a dose of happy vitamins right now. So first of all, thank you for that.
You are welcome, my friend. You are welcome. I'm glad you enjoy. Thank you.
Yes. And secondly, for the drop in the last bomb would be, don't be afraid to be yourself. Do not be afraid to be yourself. I think a lot of the times we get so distracted with social media, seeing how people show up, see what they're doing, and we start to compare ourselves. And really, there's only one person that's like you. There's only one person that's done what you have done, that's been through what you've been through, and you get to own that. You get to own that. So own it, be you, don't be afraid to be you, and just trust yourself.
I love that. Be you. Yes. Awesome. Now, with that being said, I don't think there's anything I can elaborate on with that. So, Christina, thank you so much for being on the show. Such an awesome guest. Love you to death, girl. With that being said, everyone, this has been Bite the Bullet. We will catch you guys later. Peace.